you know.
With that being said, what do you think? Let's start.
Okay.
So, for everyone joining us, thank you for joining us. Welcome to Cameras Africa. Today, we're doing something different with our live session. We are having a one-on-one interview with the one and only Kapedo Photography. For those of you who don't know, Kapedo Photography is one of the premier wedding photographers in Kenya. He has a special way that he likes to capture love and bring out those beautiful moments that cannot be repeated in wedding photography, because wedding photography hakuna that room for fix it in post. It's that moment you have to capture it within that time frame, and then it's a forever moment.
For sure.
So that's something we're going to be discussing later on.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we'll start easy with a quick introduction. Welcome, viewers. Kapedo, who are you?
Who am I?
Why?
Wow. Makes me feel like I don't know who I am actually. I think that's a very good question. But who am I? My name is Kapedo. I'm a wedding photographer and videographer now, based in Nairobi, Kenya. I love telling stories, and even my inspiration to get into the wedding space was for me to be able to tell stories.
Okay.
I always been, I'm a very talkative guy, and I tell a lot of stories, and then I was like, how can I be able now to tell others people's stories, because people say like, we love your stories, and I was like, how can I do, what can I do with this? And so that's who I am. I'm a photographer and videographer based in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm a storyteller. Yes.
And you shifted that storytelling from being verbal to being something tangible that people can
100%.
take at home. Okay.
100%.
So that's a nice, simple introduction. It doesn't scratch the surface of what Kapedo actually does. So for those of you guys that don't know, wedding photography is insanely complicated on the photographer side, but also planning a wedding is insane. But wedding photography involves so many things. You have to have so many backups, so many plan Bs to your plan A, because you don't have let me just go grab a battery. You come ready and prepared for anything and everything.
Period.
So yeah, wedding photography is secret to IC guys. Dealing with clients, dealing with equipment and gear, and making sure everything is set and ready it's a monumental task. And especially keep in mind, wedding photography ni one and done.
Yes.
You can't own your room the shoot,
You
but
can't redo it.
Exactly. So those moments are the key. So it takes a lot of not just like intelligence when it comes to cameras, but also quite a bit of emotional intelligence to be able to like read a room or read a scene and know this might be happening soon, so I should be ready with like high speed shutter for like capture those moments and everything. 100%. But yeah, we'll get into the nitty gritty. But I think the first thing we can do is simple. How did you get into photography?
So
like, what was the move? Did you start on a phone and you just like taking photos, or is it something like you had inspiration or you saw guys taking photos and you're like, can I try? Like, how did you get into photography?
So at first I was a script writer and a poet.
Oh, do you have like a background in film and TV production?
No. I've just taught myself everything on YouTube.
You taught yourself script writing?
I mean, for the school of YouTube is there.
For film and TV, or just?
It was all round, even for comedians. Okay. It was all round. This was something that I was just self-taught. I love comedy.
Okay.
That was easy for me. But then when COVID hit, now I lost my job. So what happened, I had a friend who had a Canon 4000D.
4000D?
Yeah. And he told me, I can give you this camera, and then you can be taking pictures of me in town. And so my journey started when he gave me that camera for me to take him pictures. And then what followed with that was just me being interested, doing this more. And one of the things that even steered or made me to continue learning and gaining more interest, there was so much need of photography and videography when it comes to marketing when COVID hit, because people now are marketing online.
Okay.
And people now started being like, oh, so we can sell online, so we can sell online, not just physical. And so that demand made me know that there was a space for me, and space for more photography and videographers was also created. But it was a whole journey. After 4000D, I traded into 250D, and from a 250D, I also traded to a 90D, Canon 90D. And from there, I moved to our sisters, Nikon, and then from Nikon.
Interesting. You shifted from, so you went 2000D, sorry, 4000D actually.
4000D, yes.
So for the viewers at home who don't know, the Canon 4000D is the most basic entry-level DSLR you can get.
Yes.
It's like 18 megapixel. It has like, I think, an 8 frames per second burst rate.
It's very slow.
It's basic. It's as basic as it can get.
Yes.
With a camera that you can change lenses with.
Yes.
But the primary point I think for anyone and everyone at home is with the 4000D chini. It's still a camera, and you can still change lenses, and you can still do a lot at the end of the day, because it's your first camera. You're meant to learn.
Yes.
So for those guys who don't know, that is the 4000D. The 250D is, I'd say, the good entry level. I wouldn't call it mid-range because it doesn't really have a lot of features.
Still an entry level.
Yeah, it's still an entry level.
Yes, yes.
And then 90D is when you start to get serious now, where now you're investing like proper amounts of cash.
Yes.
As an actual into your photography.
Yes.
So the 90D right now retails for like 130, and it's actually being phased out by Canon, because Canon is shifting to completely mirrorless.
Yes.
But that is a wonderful entry story. Starting from about 4000D landed to you by a friend.
Yeah.
And starting during COVID times, that's literally what people would say having everything stacked against you. Because most people want to start with a 250 or 90D, go from there. But the fact you started from a 4000D,
yes,
and then you built that interest, you learned how photography works and everything, and then shifted to 250 and 90. That's a beautiful entry story. But now let me ask, because I know people are going to ask online, why did you shift from Canon to Nikon? Especially when you're getting, like, I'm guessing now that's when you're getting into the serious phase of like jobs and everything and clients and everything. What made you shift from Canon to Nikon, and which Nikon did you shift to?
The reason I shifted from Canon to Nikon at that time, I think when I went to search for a Canon, a good Canon, I could afford, there was none. Because for me, I was very, very specific. I was like, I needed a 5D series. I had seen a 6D, but was like, no,
5D,
I need a
pixels.
Yes, the 5D was like something for me, but I didn't have that budget for a 5D. And then so I was looking for something that could give me still good pictures, but my heart, my love was in the 5D, but I didn't have money to afford the 5D. So I checked what I could afford. I was very honest with myself. I have so much love for Canon, but at this time I was not able to afford it, and I shifted to a Nikon 750. It was a good camera, but then the 750D was a good camera, but then there's something that I needed. I love sharpness, I love speed, and I love a good dynamic range. When it comes to the wedding space, good dynamic range is something you need, and the speed is something you need. And Nikon did not give me that.
Interesting. Okay.
So from Nikon 50D, I shift Nikon 750. I can't even remember the name. You see, I went all the way straight to an R5.
That's a huge leap. That's a huge leap.
It was like boom.
That's like going from, for the guys that don't know, the Nikon D750 is like it's a really good, I'm gonna call it a professional camera. It is a full frame camera with professional features, but it is an old camera.
There are many features doesn't have.
It was replaced by the D780, and then after that it was the D850, the proper Nikon. But you went from a Nikon D750 to a Canon R5.
Yes,
that is a leap and a half. When it comes to just quality alone, that's a leap and a half.
And when I went to Canon R5, since I didn't have money for big lenses, especially the red ones, the red ring ones, I remember I bought a 50.
The 50 mm
50
1.4
mm
or 1.8?
1.8.
1.8.
My first pictures with it were so nice. I still remember them. They're still on my page. They were so nice, and I knew when I first there were some of the details that were blown out in my picture. But when I went to Lightroom and I took the highlights all the way down, you could see the ability of the camera to recover details.
So now
the dynamic range, the HDR was just amazing.
So now that's where now the whole question of equipment in relation to quality. Because like with the R5, you have 45 megapixels,
Yes,
but it has significantly high dynamic range compared to like a D750.
it's crazy.
Compared to a 90D to 50D, it
Yeah.
has an insane amount of dynamic range.
Yes.
And for the guys at home wondering, what is dynamic range? Yes, Louis. Oh, okay. You can just tell people kwa ofisi wacha kutumia wifi. That's the best way to at least regain quality kwa Instagram. I can see what you mean.
Naiona pale.
Acha nizitoe yangu.
Ina watu wengi wanatumia wifi.
Yeah. We just request guys at the office to disconnect their phones from Wi-Fi so that we can have ample bandwidth for the live stream. But yeah, with that being said, dynamic range. Dynamic range, in the simplest way, in layman's terms, refers to a camera's capability to retain details in the highlights and in the shadows.
Yes.
So high dynamic range means that if you're shooting, let's for example, outdoors,
Yes.
and the sky is blown out, but you're trying to balance with your subjects as who's here on the ground.
Yes.
If you blow out your highlights, you can still recover them in post-production. So that's where dynamic range comes into play.
Yes.
Having a camera with high dynamic range means when you're editing, you can rescue a lot, even if it's blown out or
100%
a little bit underexposed.
That's what I mean.
But I think for most photographers, they say it's better to be overexposed than underexposed. Do you agree with this?
For photographers?
Yes.
For me, it's better to be underexposed than overexposed.
How comes? But what about grain and noise?
No, camera. An R5 is just a
Okay,
magical camera.
to be fair.
Yeah, on all my pictures.
Yes.
In case I have issues with maybe the kind of a dress the bride is wearing when it comes to photography, I would rather underexpose because I'm going but just one stop.
Okay.
One stop only.
Okay.
Just one stop. And
you can be able to recover that in
Canon R5 is a low light camera, so you're able to recover that.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So I hope you guys are listening at home. Please make notes, but you'll be able to view this live later on our YouTube. I hope it will be saved on our Instagram and TikTok. I've been told the quality isn't so good because of the bandwidth, but for the guys at home, you'll be able to watch this video later on our YouTube platform, on our YouTube page. So in case you're missing any notes somebody you've entered right now, we are doing a live interview with Kapedo Photography, the premier wedding photographer and videographer in Kenya. And if you'd like, or you have any notes, or if you wanted to like go back and listen to what I was saying earlier on, check out our YouTube. We'll have this video live on that platform. So with that being said, let's get into the nitty-gritty. How was your first wedding shoot experience?
I still remember it. It was
is that a sigh of relief or a sigh of pain?
Joy. Just joy. That's how I can describe it. When I first did it, it was in Kitengela. And there was this picture I took of the bride, and she was just next to a window. And then I told her to lift one of her hands up and then a little bit down like this. And she was just facing outdoors. It's like she's lost in her own thoughts. And when I took that picture and the bride saw it, she went mad. She was like, I've never seen something like this. Not only that brought confidence in me, but that also created something in me that is true. I'm not just a storyteller with my mouth. I can actually be. I'm a guy who's very good at visualization. When I saw that window, when I saw that bride, the way I visualized it in my mind, that's the exact same way
But you
it
shot
came
it.
up.
Okay.
And that's why people couldn't understand. People were like, oh, what is he seeing there? And if you check at my journey of showing people how to pose and the way they come out, is because I have the ability to visualize it. I can see it before it happens. You
Okay.
get me?
Okay.
And it was just wonderful. That moment right there is it just freezed somewhere in my mind, and I always revisit it, and I feel so good when I do that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's an interesting note from Kapedo there,
Yeah.
is that it was one of your first, it was actually your first wedding shoot,
Yes.
and it was a pose that you had in your mind. You knew what you wanted to shoot, which is actually something that Wes Anderson, the famous film director, does, is that he has
The
all of
ability.
his stuff
Yeah.
visualized in, like he knows what he wants to shoot,
Yes.
and that is what he perfects.
Yes.
So I think you're also talking the same direction. You had a vision in your mind. You knew that if I take this photo of this lady, staring out into space, it'll evoke an emotion of wonder, of what is she thinking?
Yeah.
And the bride's reaction is what sealed the deal for you. You are like,
100%.
this is what I was going for. I wanted it to evoke an emotion.
Yes.
And that is precisely what it did. And is that photo featured on your Instagram page still?
Yeah, it is featured somewhere there.
Huko chini
Down there.
kabisa.
Yeah, down there. Because now I posted a lot of content.
So for the guys that are watching at home, you can check out Kapedo Photography on Instagram.
Yeah.
Go check out his page. Go look at his work. And if you are getting married soon, he's open for bookings. He's going to be busy for the next 1 month, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
He has something cooking. I will not give the details.
Yeah.
But he has something interesting cooking.
Yeah.
But if you have an upcoming wedding, Kapedo Photography is the guy to go. Check out his page. If you like his work,
Yes.
by all means, fine.
Yes.
So with that being said, for you, it was that moment when the client saw the picture and they understood the vision and they appreciated the skill that it takes to create that, right?
Yes.
And that's what built the confidence for you to where it's like, this is what I was trying to create.
Yes.
And from there, it was just, let's keep this.
Yeah. Just to keep going, just to keep digging deeper, to keep finding yourself. I think the difference between people who scale up, people who build and scale up is like people who build and scale up they dig deep. People who cannot be able to scale up, they don't dig deep. So once I took that picture, I didn't just tack on my star moment and now I was like, oh, now I got this. I was like, what's the next challenge? What's the next thing? Yeah.
So it was time to lock in, basically.
That's the whole thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what were some of the early challenges and lessons learned?
Oh my God, early challenges.
Like rule number one for Kapedo, from the early challenges, was it the gear? Was the gear limitation? Was it dealing with clients? Was it post-production, editing, and delivery? What were the early challenges you faced? And what did you learn from them?
I didn't have like very good monitors. Yes, monitors.
Audio or video?
Should I say that? Yeah, monitor in terms of editing. Now, a good screen.
Okay.
Screen. Yeah, a good screen for editing. So I was not able to get like the colors that I had envisioned. This was just a very, very big challenge for me. But I was able to also cope with it by doing more research on the screens that could give me a neutral profile.
Color accuracy.
Yeah, color accuracy. Those were crazy, and also was like getting my name outside there, because many people who would meet would tell me your work is insane, but people don't know you. I had challenge in getting my name outside of here for people to get to know me. But the way I dealt with that was also the way I said, I dug deep. I started now how to learn how do other companies market, how do other companies grow and build such big brands that I could see outside here.
Okay.
Digging deep is everything for me. You hear me saying that deep. Can you dig deep? Can you dig deeper? And the way I was able to cope with those challenges was just going on research. And now that I'm here, I see whatever I've planted is growing up, is uprooting. It's growing up. Sorry.
Okay. So thank you for that. So that was a quick run of Kapedo's early beginnings in wedding photography. So I think now we're going to move on to signature, style, and inspiration.
Yes.
So how would you describe your style? I know, I know that sounds general.
Yeah.
But for the guys that don't know, photographers, especially the higher end photographers, once they perfect their style, it becomes an aesthetic. There's a way Rich Alela's photos look. There's a way Tinse's photos look. There's a way or a style that Kapedo's photos look. So how would you describe Kapedo's photography style? Is it aesthetic based? Is it
Nah.
emotion based? Is
I
it
am
composition based? What's
Yeah.
how would you describe Kapedo's style?
I'm a fashion and environmental wedding photographer and videographer.
Okay. So you like to incorporate aspects of
The beauty, the makeup, the dress, and what is around that.
so for you, it's not just the person in the dress. It's
Nah,
what is surrounding.
the environment, what is surrounding, is also part of my journey. So it's part of my frame.
So you could say Kapedo's wedding photography style is a lot more composition based.
100%. It's very composition based. It's a lot more composition based. But then I have a way to also make it candid. You know, since I'm very good at directing, I'm also able to make it more candid. Yes.
Okay. So for the guys at home wondering what we mean when we say style and aesthetic, for Kapedo, what he's mentioned is his style is composition based. And if you don't know what that means, it basically means how you compose the subject or the objects in your frame. And what Kapedo has said is true, and it is very indicative in his work, especially if you go through his Instagram. He likes not just to frame his subjects like frame within a frame, but he takes into consideration what is around the subject. So it's not just, oh, subject looks pretty with good makeup and the guy looks good in a nice suit. It's what is surrounding them and how do I incorporate the surroundings also into the subject.
Yes.
So for the guys at home, take notes. Think about your photography style. Are you someone that's based in emotion, whereby composition might not matter, but the emotion evoked from that photo is what gives it its charm? Or is yours composition based? Is it I compose it in rule of thirds and intersecting lines, or is it I compose the subject within a frame and then I allow the subjects or the objects in that frame to combine with the subject and create something visually, aesthetically pleasing? So that's something to consider for the guys at home listening. Think about your photography style. It can literally determine your grade of work and your quality of work. So think about that as you continue on with the photography journey. So with that being said, who are your creative inspirations? Who are the guys that you look up to, both photographers, videographers, artists and alike, that inspire you creatively?
I want to start with photography. I love, in Africa, I love Beige. Beige is from Nigeria. I also love Big H, also from Nigeria. I also love Real Magic from Nigeria.
Shout out to Beige,
Real Magic,
Magic,
and Big H.
They
are the biggest in Africa.
Yeah, if you guys ever come to Kenya, if you guys come to Kenya, kuja tufanye collab. Kasi na Cameras Africa kuja tufanye collab na Kapedo. That would be an interesting combo to see.
Yeah. Okay. They're very, very big. When it comes to international, Rim, again, Stanlaw, those have a very, very big influence in my work. And then there's Jao Photography, also those are from the US now. I'm influenced by most of my, all of the ones that influence me are from the US. Jao, Rim, what else did I say? Stanlaw. Those are my biggest influence. When it comes to videography in Africa, I'm influenced by Duro. He's from Nigeria. Then in terms of globally, oh, please don't forget that name because it just passed me like this. He's from the US. His name just passed me.
Guys, it's not Peter McKinnon by the way. It's not. It's not.
I hope I remember it. Oh God. I don't know.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
It's a C. It has started with a C. I can.
Okay, it's okay. We can revisit it later.
Yeah,
We can
yeah,
revisit
yeah.
it
Yeah,
later.
but he's from the US.
So now here's the final question when it comes to signature style and inspiration.
Yeah.
What makes a photo timeless for you?
What does?
What makes a photo timeless for you?
What makes a type for a photo timeless?
Yes, for you, not even for the clients.
Yes.
For you. When you take a photo that when you look back at it 10, 20 years from now, it's you just like sit down and just stare at it like this is beautiful. So
It's
what
crazy,
makes
yeah.
a photo
Timeless.
timeless for you?
That's a good question. So for me, what makes a photo timeless is first is it's the ability of a photographer or a videographer to visualize whatever he wants to capture even before it's captured. And one of the things that he has to do, even if he has to maybe direct whatever he wants as the outcome, it's the ability for him to also transition that into a moment that is very candid and very natural. You know, whatever makes some of these photographers have these what we might call a cinematic, something very cinematic, something very nice, is how it's well directed. And I've seen like the best even videographers that I look up to and photographers that I look up to. They approach everything from a point of very cinematic look and style. You can see maybe a bride is just posing, looking this direction, the groom is looking this direction. It feels like a movie. It's like something very strong, and whatever is surrounding it is very moody, and it's able to connect, with the model. It's like if people are happy, let's say people are wearing black, and there's this nice back, black backdrop or whatever it is, and the lighting they decide to use is moody. You look at that picture, you feel like, oh, you can even tell what it is, but you always look at that picture and you're like, wow, because there's a certain mood that that picture is creating. Okay. And then there's just a story of power. Okay. Depending on the lighting, the dressing, the background, it's just amazing.
Okay. So for summary, I'd say for you, what makes a photo timeless?
Yeah.
Is not even the composition, it's more the emotion evoked in that moment, the emotion that
100%.
picture.
That's what makes it timeless. Emotions, you can always revisit an emotion and
feel that.
That's what you're saying, evoking. You can just evoke once. Anytime you evoke and then you close it up and then you say, oh wow, it's keep on doing it over and over again.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So guys, take notes. Aim to capture true timeless moments in your photographs.
100%.
That's what makes a timeless photograph.
100%.
According to Kapedo photography. So always strive to capture true, beautiful, one of a kind moments. Capture that emotion. It doesn't. Okay, emotion matters, but it doesn't necessarily matter when you're just trying to portray an emotion. Whereby 10 years down the line, if I look at a wedding photo, I'm gonna be like, I remember this. I remember how it felt. It's not just a good photo. Let it be a photo that moves you emotionally.
100%.
Okay, so awesome. So I hope you guys are taking notes. This game is usually not for free. I think a lot of premier photographers and videographers, it gets to a point where they get so big, it's not even about like giving advice. It becomes, all right, I'm having a workshop. This is how much it costs. Come.
Yeah, for sure.
So for the guys at home and to Canvas Africa, I want to say thank you very much. Yes. So guys, make sure you're writing notes. But with that being said, let's move on to something that I think a lot of people want to hear.
Yes.
What sets Kenyan weddings apart? Or even is there something that sets Kenyan weddings apart?
The culture, every wedding, I think we have like 52 tribes.
Yes. 53. Chuka or something more. They wanted to.
Yeah, let's say we have many tribes.
Just we have many tribes. Yeah, that's a lot of culture.
And each tribe has its own beliefs and traditions,
colors, culture.
Yeah, in dressing code. I think that especially when they're doing maybe a wedding from one tribe to the other tribe. Oh my God, the cultures, the way they blend in terms of the dressing, the beliefs, what they stand for. That really sets our weddings apart. I love the culture. It's the culture for me. It's a
Okay.
culture.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, let's get to the part where I think a lot of people are waiting for. Kapedo,
Yes.
what is the gear and tech that you use?
What is the gear I use?
Exactly. Not just the gear, not just the cameras, but also the technology. So, like, even it comes to a bit of like the editing software.
Oh, okay, like the whole thing.
Exactly. What is the key gear? Like, okay, you have an unlimited budget wedding. What is the equipment and your water cinema that you have?
I have, or what
That
I
you have, exactly. We will talk about dream gear, but
Ah,
but what is the
okay.
gear that you have right now? That's when I'm going for wedding photographers, Kapedo, this and this and this is what I need
Okay.
to achieve the best
This,
results.
okay. So when I'm packing up to go to a wedding,
Hmm.
number one,
Mhm.
two Canon R5s
Two.
body, yes.
Okay.
Free white lens, loves the 50 mm 1.2.
Mhm.
I'm buying the 35 mm 1.4. So I'm
Okay.
also speaking like I have it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But then let's start with what I've already purchased.
Mhm.
So the 50 mm 1.2,
Mhm.
the 85 1.2 for
Mhm.
doing those nice close-ups
Mhm.
for makeup.
Mhm.
Then I have the 28 to 70 2.0
Mhm.
that allows me to capture the nice wide shots.
Mhm. Versatile. So those are two essential prime lenses and a
Yes,
good versatile zoom lens.
yes.
Mhm.
And I also have the 100 mm macro,
Mhm.
which I use it to capture things like the rings,
Mm.
the details.
Like the jewelry, come clean sparkle, like those
Yes,
finer details.
yes, those finer details.
Mhm.
I use the 100 mm macro.
Okay.
Yes.
What about tripods? Do you do? I know this is gonna sound weird, but do you use a gimbal for photography? I know that
Yeah,
sounds
yeah, yeah,
weird,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
There's
yeah,
one tripod I use. I carry me. It's from KF Concept.
kind
It's
of
for
concept.
yeah, KNF.
So that means okay. So you're not even using necessarily like a full size tripod like this Yuri SH25, which is a heavy duty tripod
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
videography.
yeah, yeah.
You're using a kind of photography tripod.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's very
So
nice, easy to work with.
so just a quick recap. That is a Canon R5,
Yeah.
an 85 mm f1.2, a
Yes.
50 mm f1.2,
Yes.
a kind of photography tripod.
Yes.
What about storage? Are you doing SD cards or have you shifted to CF Express?
I'm still doing SD
SD card.
cards, but I want a CF.
CF Express.
Yes, I want a CF.
Okay, I'm guessing,
Yes.
but I'm guessing for SD cards, it's the high capacity fast SD cards, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 200 like speed in terms of speed, 200 Mbps. But I think for me,
Mhm.
in terms of how SD cards look, it can be sometimes risky. They break easily.
Mhm.
It's very, very risky.
Mhm.
So for a CF Express, I think
That's
as a
the next.
professional, that's
That's
you
the
must have it.
essential.
You must have it.
Okay.
Not just an issue. You must have a CF.
Okay. So guys, take notes. R5, 85 1.2 RF first party, 50 1.2 RF as well first party lens,
Yes.
a high speed, high capacity SD card, a photography tripod by K&F Concepts,
Yes.
and then what do you have for storage? Like besides the SD card,
Yes.
are you SSD or HDD?
SSD.
SSD all the way.
Fast, very fast.
Okay.
Yes.
And then laptop.
M1 16.
That's a
Yes.
MacBook. That is.
Yeah, MacBook.
A MacBook.
M1
Mhm.
1 TB 16 inches. I think yeah, 16 inches.
Okay, and for the guys at home wondering why a lot of professional photographers use MacBooks, whether it's the Pro or the Air, number one, screen quality,
Yes.
because you need incredible color accuracy, which Apple perfected a long time ago. And yeah, good screen means good photos, means good production, means good editing.
Yes.
Also, I'm guessing also reliability.
Yes.
Have you used PCs before, or did you start from
Yeah,
Apple and just
I've,
stick to that?
I've used PC before.
Mhm.
They become slow with time and very, very quickly. They just have issues when it comes to speed. The first thing they mess you up is speed. They start just becoming slower. And then for you to build a PC that can be able to do what you want in terms of work, the investment is crazy. I have people who build PCs with like maybe they're telling you this one I built with half M. I'm like, with just 200,000, you could just get an M1 TB.
But to be fair,
You know.
so I'm vouching for the higher end PC builds
Yeah.
because not just versatility,
Mm.
but also being able to tweak your setup. Because I like
For sure.
MacBooks, but
But see, I'm on the move. I want something I can move with.
okay, but what about when you're editing at home? Are you still on MacBook?
I'm a MacBook all the way.
Okay.
If I have to change, I can only change to the ones. This one, what are they
The
known?
MacBook Minis.
Yeah, the
Mac
minis. I can do to a mini, a high-end mini, and a good screen. Now, a good screen now means you have to go back to get these monitors. There's one company. I don't remember their name, but they're very expensive. They are not even. There's Enza, the Enza, and there's another one. There's another company. So very popular in the US, but very expensive.
So guys, that's also another note. Do your research. If you're someone or if you're photography that's on the move a lot, invest in a good MacBook. It won't let you down, and you get a lot of performance to value price point. Yes, they're not cheap, but those things almost never die. And having a good screen with good color accuracy is indispensable for photographers.
For sure.
However, if you're like me and you love a good desktop, take the time to build something substantial. So if you're going to invest in a desktop for editing, let's say you edit a lot at home, or if you're primarily an editor and you don't necessarily shoot a lot, invest in a high-end PC. Go to companies like Shuffle PCs and get a
that's for editors,
high-end
full-time
PC
editors.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Even for guys who are like part-time editors, but you want the desktop setup, maybe you do gaming on the side, invest in a crazy high-end PC setup that is redundant, meaning yes, you can have a 16 GB, get a 32 GB, get a proper 2 TB SSD, get a proper monitor, get HDMI 3.0 monitors plus cables. Like invest in the high-end stuff that is future-proof, so that you don't need to set up grading A, B, C, D. Invest in something robust, strong, powerful earlier on. So yeah, with that, I think now we can move on to key pieces of advice that should give people on building a portfolio and networking, as well as the mistakes to avoid. Like, how did you, with your 4000D, how would you advise people to build a portfolio and network?
Collaboration.
Is that with other photographers, or is that
it doesn't matter who it is? You just need to collaborate. You need to find someone you can collaborate with. You can collaborate with a photographer. You have to collaborate with other creatives such as makeup artists, people who are in all, so long as they can impact you in your own way. And one of the ways, I want to say this, I don't think people have ever said this, but find a way to serve the community. Find a way to serve people.
Elaborate.
I started in church. I'm still doing. I'm still a church photographer. Yes. One of the things that I've noticed, I have learned a lot being a church photographer than actually doing other events. When I go to churches, different churches have different lighting style. Sometimes you meet these warm lights, sometimes it's very cold, sometimes it's tungsten. Sometimes this kind of light, it's blue. You know, churches and their crazy lighting. And I had to learn how to color grade these kind of lights, how to get the correct white balance out of this. And for me, 2 ways to really build your portfolio is to collaborate and find a way to serve
the community.
You can I don't know, you don't have to serve where I served, but you find a way to
find
serve.
a way to give back to the community.
You can even serve under another photographer, and you say, okay, I want to be helping you every time you go to a shoot. I want to be the one helping you to hold the lights. You find a way to serve. It's not just a church or
your job. It's sometimes then you just take the time and give back.
I have done more free stuff than I've done paid stuff.
Guys, I know people don't like kuambiwa kuja na camera.
I have done more free stuff than I've done paid stuff. I've done more gigs free. You call me right now, you tell me for a gig that is free, and then I find the way I'm going to benefit from that. Because let me tell you, if your collaboration with another brand is based on money only, then you have lost it even before you start.
That's a
If
transaction.
it's like if money is what like making you come to this deal, then that's no longer even a collaboration. That's a transaction.
Kapedo. Now let me speak for the guys who are at home. When you say money isn't, okay.
No,
let
no,
me
no.
let me
It's
speak for the guys at home. When yanajua watatuma for comments. What about the guys who are starting this and the primary goal is to be financially stable?
you see, that's their primary goal, right?
Mm.
That's the only thing that's pushing them.
Driving you.
So once they have the money, then it means they cannot go on, right?
Yes.
So they are already doomed
Okay.
because that's the only thing. That's their line. That's their money. Once they have the money, means they cannot push through. For
Then,
me,
yeah, what's there after the money? If that's your only driving factor,
so if I give you money, then it means you want to do it. So your only problem is money.
and if that's your only
So
driving
accidentally you
force,
win these betting sites, so you cannot do photography.
musibet, my guys.
I'm just saying, you know.
Don't bet.
So
This is not an endorsement to any betting sites, please. It's
You
not
get
an endorsement.
so
Uh-huh.
so that's a very so for me I think if money is what makes you start the journey, then there's a problem. There has to be money is a reward you get when you
From-
have what made you start. Money is just a reward. It's not the main thing. It's just a reward. It's gonna be rewarded to you in plenty than you can even think of.
Especially when you take the time not just to shoot for finances, but also give back to people.
Bro, you let me tell you right now. It's very funny. A photographer or a videographer is saying that I'm struggling with a brand. Okay, I'm struggling to push my brand. But there's a new hotel that just opened. They don't have a photographer, they don't have a videographer, they don't know how to market. You just have to go to that hotel and tell them, by the way, I'm a photographer and a videographer, and then I can shoot content for you. In exchange, I can use this content on my page. And you just do this. You allow me. When I do it, you are going when you post it on your socials, you are going to tag me. Okay, no one will know that you did for free to those guys. If let me tell you, I'm sorry, let me say something radical. Most people, wherever they are, and I'm not saying this because people will be like, oh, now you use Canon right now, you want to talk like this, and you have these followers, now you want to talk like this. No. That's not. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this from a point of ignorance. If you have not done 50 projects for free, and you're complaining that your brand is not growing, the problem is you. The problem is not your brand.
Yeah. Okay. Hot take from Kapedo. Okay.
Go. You say, and then I think we need to be honest with people.
Yes.
I love. There's something known as the blue ocean mentality, and it's also from a biblical point of view. It's like abundance. So let me tell you this. When people see in Kenya that, oh, Kapedo has done wedding photography and videography, and it's now working for you, let's all go do this wedding photography and videography. Never think from such a point of view. Think from, Kapedo has taken over the wedding industry. I want to take over the hotel industry. I want to take on the wildlife industry. I can do the marketing for the SMEs. There's so many brands outside here shooting their phones and there's not good quality. And you just need to go say, I need to work for this brand. I need to work for this brand. I need to work for this brand. And you work for these SMEs. And then you give them value. Let me tell you what's going to happen to you. They're going to start rewarding you. I said money is going to come as a reward. You're going to buy the dream gear you want and you'll be able to do any kind of job you want.
Okay.
I've done free work, bro. You don't even understand this. I've done free work. I did a gig for free and then they later gave me money. I was like,
okay. For free, but thank you for the cash.
But that was not the aim why I did it. So if you are struggling as a brand, right, like outside here, saying that you have not built your portfolio and you have not done 50 projects for free,
reached out to people for
your own money, your own fare, your own food, bro, you must be hungry now. Hunger. You must be on a hunger strike, bro. You must be on a hunger strike. Yeah.
So my producer Sling, we have quite a few questions. So Louis, tuambie maswali.
Yeah, so we have a lot of Kapedos. That's aside, Anita Obier Bonasema, I agree to the last conversation. There's a gift to be more, money can't be only motivation. And then Dennis Nene also agreed with your previous point. I agree collaborating works so well. Then you have some quite a few questions from TikTok and Instagram. Someone is asking, how much do you charge on your projects? So I don't know if I should read like a couple of questions, then you answer, one question.
We could do one by one.
We
Like
can do one by one.
yeah, so like
Yeah.
yeah. So if
Okay,
you're
so
doing
how do you go about charging?
for
And maybe you
for
can repeat the questions back to me.
yeah. So the question to Kapedo guys, for the guys who can't hear at home, Kapedo has been asked on both Instagram and TikTok how much he charges for a project. I'm guessing specifically they mean wedding photography coverage, post production, and post production.
That goes with charging goes with the scope of work.
Yes.
So
this is photography specifically.
yeah,
What
photography
is
and
your
videography.
what is your base rates for Apple Tree
150.
photography part? Yeah. You're cheaper than the guy who did for me my wedding photography.
Yeah.
I should have hired you.
You need to
More
give me
expensive,
money.
but I should have hired you.
Yes.
Guys, so you had it here first. Kapedo's base photography package for a wedding, that is pre-production and post-production, photography only, 150,000 Kenyan shillings.
Yes.
Okay. Answer the question.
Yep.
Next question.
Another question, what made you choose Canon camera over other brands of cameras?
Oh my God. Go on.
He literally said it, guys. Yeah. For the people who are wondering, we went into a Q&A section and you've asked, why did Kapedo choose to shift to Canon over other camera brands? So I can answer this from a technical point of view. I think he'll explain why he chose to shift to, or to stick with Canon. From a technical, purely specs point of view, when it comes to color sense, reproduction, editing workflow, and efficiency of file formats and editing process itself, honestly speaking, Canon does it and they do it well. As it comes down to it, when it comes especially to skin tones and getting proper melanin skin tones in post-production, again, Canon does it really, really well. There's a reason why they're one of the biggest brands, not just in Africa, but abroad. And from a layman's point of view, specs, no bias, Canon does color production really well, especially for melanin skin tones. And they perfected that color sense a long time ago. And they do a few updates here and here, but Canon does color reproduction and science really well. But from a professional point of view, why Canon?
I 100% agree with you. For me, the color science. I don't want to spend 100 hours trying to match skin tones because sometimes people kind of mess up with the maker, and Canon has a way to just process the colors much better when it comes to, even if the makeup is poorly done, Canon has the ability to just process it better, to find a balance in terms of the whole skin tones, in terms of the body. I love the speed. I love the dynamic range. I love dynamic range because wedding dresses have these details that you must recover. So the dynamic range.
And guys, note, just he's not talking about this from an R5 point of view. Keep in mind, it started from a 4000D, went to a 50D, went to a 90D, shifted to Nikon, and then came back to Canon. So he's not just talking from an R5, pro point of view. He's talking about a point of view that started a long time ago from 4000D.
Yeah. So I love the dynamic range. I love the color science. I love the sharpness there, especially when you're combining it with the RF lenses. For me, that's crazy. And then I love Canon because it's a community. It's the way Canon has able to reach out to educate, to inform other people outside there. So it's not just a brand that is selling a product, it's also a brand that is reaching out to the community and inspiring other people to tell their stories. To telling their stories, such a vital thing, and they have found a way to make these cameras, like from not just the R5, but we also have the R550, a small camera that you can be able to vlog with it. So they are very concerned with everyone's growth.
There's something for everyone.
There is something for everyone. So, I mean, when there's something for everyone, that's a brand that cares. So that's why for me, Kano.
Okay.
Yes.
Next question.
Next question, I'm going to blend these two.
Mhm.
If you can answer, that is. What were some of the best clients that you worked with so far? That is, if you can answer. And
The best
also, how
clients.
do you get your
Ah,
also how do you get your high-end clients?
that let me see you. That's all you. That's all you. Siongei.
So the question is, which are my best clients?
Yes.
So far.
Or you can say who have been
Who have been my best clients so far? It's everyone who have booked me. That's you're my best client.
Kapedo cares about his.
Everyone who has booked me, everyone who has
Kapedo
worked
cares.
with me, that's my best client.
Mhm.
The ones who are thinking of working with me, those are my best clients. And how do I get high-end clients? Ooh, I'm about to say something radical.
Spanish series what I like.
Yeah. Let me just give this one.
Mhm.
This one. This is the only one I'm giving them. This secret. There's something the Bible says, be renewed by the renewal of your mind. But then I want to teach you something. After renewing your mind, please, you must create a brand. Let me just even put it in a way that people will understand. Let me say you want to work in an office.
Yes.
The first thing you do if you want to work in an office, I would ask you to do, if in case you have not even gotten the job, I'll tell you to buy a suit. So whatever you're trying to do is also you're trying to create something known as the law of attraction.
So presentation and perception.
Yes.
Okay.
So in case I need a high-end client, you know what I do? I go back to collaboration. I'll go get a model, a good model, and then I'll call this high-end hotel. Then I'll go shoot a model, a high-end model in a high-end hotel. And sometimes I'll have to pay the model. When I go post the pictures, they'll be like, ooh, this is this certain hotel. I love the way it looks like. And the model. So you are trying to create a law of attraction. It's a law.
It's interesting.
You get me? So people don't know you, but the clients that they see you starting work with, which have not even paid you, are high-end clients. And then that's how you start attracting them.
Yes. So guys at home,
it's like this. You need to work with a celebrity. Just go look for the top celebrity, work with him, and all other celebrities will come to you because you're working with the top celebrity.
So when it comes to high-end clients, don't be afraid to reach out to high-end clients.
I saw a guy write like this, and I'm not bragging, but I saw a guy write something online. And it was a wedding that I didn't even attend. It was a big wedding. It was a massive wedding. It was trending all over online. Big wedding. And then it was a traditional wedding actually. And then the guy, people are just writing there. I'm not even there, but people are just saying, if Kapedo is not in this wedding, we don't believe it's big.
So that's perception.
Because people have seen me in these weddings. You see DJ Mo, you see this big wedding, you know, and they go like, more is coming, bro. More is coming. I'm just getting started. You're gonna see me in these big weddings, and you know what happens? You know what happens? People even now people know you wanna make your wedding this glamorous Kapedo. You wanna make Kapedo. You get? You know how you wanna, because Kapedo, that's what Kapedo is showing people. If you go to my page, the first one I wrote a luxurious wedding photographer. So even before you see luxury, I've written to you luxurious wedding photographer and videographer. It's such an important thing.
Okay. So for the guys at home, when you mnaandika notes, presentation number one, your personal presentation as a professional is key.
Yes.
The way people perceive you as a professional is also key. And number three, don't be afraid to reach out in your downtime. So not when you have a job. When you're not doing a wedding gig or something, don't be afraid to reach out to these high-end hotels, to these celebrities, mini celebrities, influencers, for a collaborative project that showcases your work without the pressure of it being an actual shoot, an actual wedding photography shoot. So I think what is said in layman's terms is build your portfolio, reach out for collaborations, not just between high-end, big models and everything, but reach out to big like high-end models, photographers, influencers, and the like, and create and build a portfolio, not just when you're doing your wedding photography, but even in your off time, so that is what your portfolio is made of.
Yes.
So yeah, so guys, I hope Nandika notes like this is some really good game. But what being said, dude, another question.
Yeah. Kuna hiyo wakati nimesema a brand that cares, so for that matter, Cameras Africa you should make him an ambassador.
That might be in the works.
No, they said. Let me tell you what they have said. Let me tell you what she has said. Let me just say what they have said. Okay. You have heard. like guys, yeah, for sure.
Yes. It's in the works, guys. We won't.
So guys, are you saying that I should be an ambassador for these guys? That they give guys. It's the people. Now the people want. It's not me.
The people asking for
people
it.
asking that I become. You know, it's the funniest thing that I don't want to speak about it. But anyway, I know it to come to pass. It to come to happen. I'll be a very big brand ambassador for not just Canon, but even Cameras Africa. Amen.
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 You are so good at taking other people's wedding videos. When are we seeing your?
But Chico, do you have a special person? Cool, no, it's okay. It's okay. You can. Do you have a special
Yes, I have a special person. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior.
Kapedo.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hawezi oa Mungu. Utaoa Mungu, bro. Hawezi oa Mungu. Tuambia Kapedo.
Next question.
Na nani ndo atafanya hiyo cover?
I don't have. Why are you seeing my wedding videos, guys?
Who will cover for you your wedding photographs?
Right.
I mean, it could be those Nigerian. What was his name? Was it Big H? And Dream.
Next question.
Would you consider
Yes.
trying out tunnel lenses?
Would that?
Consider trying out tunnel lenses.
Trying out tunnel lenses.
She's asking, would I consider using Tamron lenses? Never. Not now, not ever.
Yeah.
They don't even have to reach out to me.
Yeah.
Canon all the way.
Keep in mind, he's an ambassador, so he's biased.
No. I
He's
cannot.
biased.
No, I cannot. I'm not.
Tamron
I'm not. I'm
good lenses, guys. There's a Canon 35 to 150 f2 2.8.
Bro.
Show me the Canon equivalent.
Bro.
Show me. I'm waiting.
Bro.
Show me.
Do you know what's a 51 point? Do you know? Let me tell you this.
Yes.
Hasselblad,
Yes.
the only handmade camera. What? Hasselblad, the only handmade camera.
Leica is also handmade.
uses. Let me get. No, Hasselblad is like the biggest high-end camera.
No.
Hasselblad is a beast, bro.
It's the beast in
For
medium
photography.
format. It's the beast in medium format, but there's still Fujifilm who are also doing medium format.
medium form is just Hasselblad.
Bro,
Hasselblad
Fujifilm
is Hasselblad.
Fujifilm GFX 100.
Bro, Hasselblad is just Hasselblad.
Fujifilm GFX
Okay,
100.
let's talk
has
about
higher
Hasselblad. I don't.
it's still medium format.
Okay, I don't know even what that is.
Fair.
Hasselblad is the biggest company that when it comes to product photography because they use Hasselblad. They actually the amount they actually use Canon lenses. If you didn't know that, they're compatible with Canon lenses. In case you didn't know, now you know. Thank you. Welcome,
guys. To drive his point.
Okay,
home,
and to drive my point home, it is
First
considered that 85 mm 1.2 Canon lens is the sharpest lens. Canon 85 1.2 is RF is the sharpest lens.
You know what? I'm a challenge Canon for reasons. Yes, Canon Africa. I know y'all are watching. You know you watch. This is a challenge to you. Provide us with an R5C, an R5, an R5 Mark II, 85 1.2, a 51.2, a 72 200, and 100 mm. Let's put them to the test. Let's actually see.
They don't need
sharpness.
to be put to the test.
How do you
We
have
have
side by
already-
side test?
We don't need to do side by side. We have already seen pictures from the Canon R5 from these. No, wait. We have already seen environmental photography from these cameras. We have already seen pictures. We already seen environmental. They are there. The evidence is on YouTube. We are not going to do another test. The only test we are doing is for new cameras that will come. Now for the Canon, for the R series, we have reimagined
Okay.
And you're not going to imagine again.
So guys, you've had it here first. Kapedo,
You're a potato guy.
first party
This guy is a
lenses.
potato guy.
First party
This is a
lenses
potato guy.
only. So if he has his Canon
This is a potato
R5,
guy.
he only uses RF glass. Keep that in mind. That is Kapedo's cup of tea. However, with that being said, Louis, do you have any other questions?
Tons. In a network.
Ah.
Next question.
Yes.
This one, let me ask you. I don't want to ask you because it's going to be biased.
Yes.
Do you have a Sony comparison to what he uses?
He
To
has
the
asked,
Canon R5.
he has asked, do you have a Sony comparison to what I use?
So-
I'm glad to answer this question.
No,
There
you're
is no
biased.
there is no Sony comparison to a Canon camera. We don't need to do that comparison.
Guys,
No. We don't need to do.
Sony.
No. We are the first people to ever
Equivalent.
bring to the market a 28 to 70 2.0. These has never been had. Have you ever had that there's a 2.0 in the market? No. They have never
Yes.
been. Let me tell you. Do you know
Yes.
that Canon lenses are the most good-looking lenses?
Someone has a 2.0.
But do you know they don't look good?
Okay.
No. We have the most good-looking lenses.
Guys, as
No,
you
no,
can see,
no.
Kapedo is biased.
No, not biased. Does he have? Give me a 400. I think something. There's a lens that is used for wildlife.
Guys, I'll tell you guys a secret. Kapedo atakatwa dollars asiposema Canon ni nini.
No, let me tell you. There is no camera in this world. It's good-looking. The colors are nice. So we don't need to compare a Canon. Bro, how can you compare a Canon? You don't compare. Why are we trying to compare a Canon with other things? I don't even want to mention whatever you are mentioning them.
Okay, fine. I'm not comparing. I'm just saying the Sony equivalent
No.
of the R5
Why are you mentioning?
would
We
have
don't-
to be the Sony A7
No.
R5.
It cannot be. A Canon R5 is a Canon R5. Period.
Granted, the R5
With better
does
color
have
processing.
a higher burst rate compared to the Sony A7 R5. The Sony A7 R5 does have the added benefits of being 61 megapixels over the Canon R5's 45.
But you are going to need to export them as 4K.
So I think I don't want to say there's a direct equivalent from Sony.
Thank you.
I'd say there's a camera equivalent in terms of specs from Sony, but the specs may vary. I can't say there's a direct equivalent either on Sony or on Nikon or on Fujifilm.
Yeah. Specs vary.
Specs will vary. Yeah, specs will
Canon
vary.
is better when specs vary.
Yeah.
Next question. Canon 1.
Next question.
8-0.
Kapedo, let's talk about white balance. How do you adjust to the right one?
How do I adjust the white balance?
Stop using auto balance.
I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Manual auto balance.
I use Kelvins.
Yeah.
I just know,
that is,
I just know how to set it right.
Mhm.
If in case I'm using whichever light I'm using, either continuous. If I'm using continuous lights, I'll set it to 5500, which does the same I'll set on the camera. In case I'm using the sun, depends on the time of the day. Is it cold? There's a golden hour. So I just know how to set what the time of the day will determine the white balance. If it's cold, then I'll warm it up. If it's warm, then I'll cool it down.
So
because around 6, it's very warm, especially when the sun is setting, is like crazy, like 7,000. So you want to be at 35 somewhere.
Yeah, so guys, write down those notes. It's dependent on the shooting situation, but Kapedo specifically uses manual white balance, whereby he sets it to specific kelvins depending on the shooting conditions. If it's brighter, whiter light, then he'll set it to a higher white balance, which will result in warmer or balanced colors. If it's warm light, then he'll set it to a lower white balance, which will result in balance. So it comes down to your shooting conditions. Stop using auto white balance. Stop using white balance modes. Learn the kelvins. It's really easy. It's very straightforward,
good,
and set them manually.
Thank you.
Okay.
At least we agree.
This question is for you, Victor. What is the best camera for indoor shooting, haswa food photography, with a budget of 180,000?
Let me ask him, what is the best camera for food photography indoors for food photography, it's a Canon, guys.
With a budget of
180K. It's a Canon, but he'll tell you which one. But it's a Canon. Tell them which Canon.
Honestly, my people, he might have a point. Yeah. If you're shooting indoors, you have a huge advantage if you have a full frame camera because of the crop factor. If crop factor isn't an issue in your book, honestly speaking, get a Canon EOS R7.
I told you.
You can't beat the price point to value of being able to have 32 megapixels in a camera that costs around 145,000. So objectively speaking, specs, value for money, and quality, the Canon R7 beats out the Sony A6700,
Hey!
especially when it comes to resolution. And because you're doing food photography and you need high resolution, get either the Canon R7 or the Canon R7 at around 140,000, or the Sony A7 III,
Period.
which is around 175, but that won't leave you with a lot of money for accessories.
Period.
So yeah,
But it's Canon.
get either the R7 or the Canon R8.
The most important thing is
comes down.
Canon.
When it comes down to value, yeah.
No, yes, you guys mnasema mimi ni kichwa ngumu, lakini
yeah, but it works for you.
Ameulizwa na client, akaulizwa vizuri, which is the camera would you recommend? He himself has said Canon R7. Reimagining with Canon.
But it comes down to your preference.
What that R means is reimagining with Canon. Imagine a camera that takes care of your stomach. Food photography.
Guys, I am not biased when it comes to any camera brand. My job is to help you guys. So I will give you the facts as it is. There is a Canon that you can get for around 180K that will give you really good resolution. And there is a Sony. For Nikon, Fujifilm, there definitely is. But when it comes down to brass tacks, specs for specs, Canon will give you the best value for money. So get a Canon R7 and add the accessories. So yeah.
Okay. Are we done with questions?
But yes, Kapedo ni kichwa ngumu. But it works for him. To be fair, come to ni kichwa ngumu but ana results. But kichwa ngumu but kuna results. You can't argue with that. You can't argue with that.
Last question.
From Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram. What do you think? This is for you, Victor. What do you think of the FX30 compared to the A6700? So what do you think of the two? Can you compare?
Umekashia Kapedo. Mnauza swali za Sony.
Sony to Sony.
So to answer your question, if you're purely a filmmaker, a videographer through and through, you cannot beat the video capabilities and features of the FX30 compared to the A6700. The A6700 is good as an all-rounder, but it doesn't necessarily specialize either in photography or videography. It just has good all-round features. If you want to specifically focus on filmmaking and videography, the FX30 is in a class of its own when it comes to crop sensor filmmaking. So I'd have to say the FX30 is through and through, purely because of feature sets and the way it's built for filmmakers and videographers. So yeah, FX30.
Period.
So with that being said, I think we can move on to the final section of our interview today.
Yes.
And I will ask you this. This is a quick fire round, so quick question and answer. Number one, favorite lens?
Lens or lenses?
Lens. You can only pick one.
I can only pick one?
Yes.
5122.
Dream destination, wedding location?
Greece, Santorini, and Lake Como, Italy.
That is interesting. No, but it's only one. You can only pick one.
Greece, Santorini.
Dream camera?
Ooh, I have it.
Yeah.
If they keep producing more in terms of the R series, yes. I think Dream.
Would you consider getting the R5 Mark II? Especially because you're getting into videography, and I know
the
R5 has the 30-minute limit.
For photography, Canon R5, my dream, I have it. For videography, R5 Mark II, R5C, those are my dream.
How comes you wouldn't get the R3 for photography?
R3, it's a sports camera.
But it has a stack sensor. But it has a good stack
Yeah,
sensor.
it's heavy. It's just big.
At least the R5C has something that's smaller, portable, lightweight, easy to use.
Yes.
Okay, so for Kapedo, that's his. Editing or shooting?
Both.
Can only pick one.
Shooting.
Shooting. Business or creativity?
Creativity.
Okay. Weddings or events?
Weddings.
Studio or corporates?
Corporate.
Fanta or Coca-Cola?
I don't take sugar.
Yeah. I was hoping to catch him off guard. Water or soda?
Water.
Red Bull or Monster?
I don't take energy drinks.
Yeah. He's covered on all his bases. Okay, fine. Coffee or tea?
Coffee, no sugar.
Nikon, Sony. Hakuna Canon.
Canon.
Guys, you see what I'm working with? I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. Nikon or Fujifilm?
Canon.
Let's keep in mind, at one point, Kapedo did move to Nikon. So I think that's your answer, guys.
I was before Kapedo. Now I am Kapedo. I didn't have capital letters in my name. Now I have capital letters. It's Kapedo.
That's a good answer. Okay. And finally, I think we'll just have a quick Q&A from the audience if we do have one. Louis, do you have a question for Kapedo? Would you like him to cover your wedding?
What?
To yourself. Your wedding. Amekataa. Amekataa kujibu.
Because you know the answer to that.
This ujibu swali. The people want to know. The people want to know. Sikuaniki hizo utambia tu. Maybe yako ndio itakuwa ya Greece. Yes. Kapedo. Okay. I think
it's your boy. International levels.
PS or Xbox?
Huh?
PS or Xbox?
I don't play games.
If you did.
I can't.
If you don't do
Wow.
photography, what other?
Yeah. What
Photography. For real.
You can't live and breathe.
Okay, if the next thing I will tell you, you see like I'm a joker.
Do you still do the poems, Henry?
Don't do poems. Nah, bro.
Concentration?
Hobby.
Mm.
You know, I can see movies because I watch after maybe 6 months. That's all. That's not a hobby.
No, because assuming not everyone in your life is into photography. So if you were to bond with someone, what else would you do?
Tunampeleka skydiving.
I love conversations surrounding God.
Surrounding?
God.
Interest.
Oh, those one I love. You there you find me. Preaching about God and not being biased. Not the new preaching where people are just talking about money. No, that's not my kind of preaching. I don't even listen to that. And I the word of God as it is. Bro, man, I love the word of God. I love God so, man. I love the word of God.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Preaching. Listening to preaching, reading the Bible, studying the word. Let me see, studying the word of God.
That is interesting. So if Kapedo wasn't a photographer, he would be a preacher.
Hey, hallelujah.
Guys, you heard it here first.
Interesting. I have a question.
Yes.
From the work that you do, mostly, let's talk wedding photography. I've seen you do a lot of white wedding. So it's in connection to someone who has asked, would you mind having an exhibition of having wedding photos of different tribes in Kenya?
That's an interesting.
Actually, please repeat the question.
Yeah. So for the people at home wondering, the question that's just been asked. So for Kapedo, the question is, would you mind having an expo or an exhibition that showcases all the different cultures and colors of wedding photography? Actually, I think that's a challenge to you now.
I'm gonna tell you this like the way it is. Next year, I'll do this. I love it. Not only I'm going to consider, I'm actually going to do it. You're gonna see the Maasai culture. You're gonna see the Kikuyu culture. You're gonna see all these cultures and what they dress for traditional weddings. It's just brilliant. It just struck my mind. So yeah. And you see an exhibition.
So now that means that's a challenge here as Kapedo. So you've been challenged to step away from white weddings and step into culture-based weddings.
100%. And not just finding a blend to that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just
so that's a challenge to Kapedo. I think with that we can start closing down. Kapedo, where can people find you?
Here on Instagram.
LinkedIn, which platforms?
They can find me on. They can find me on Instagram at Kapedo Photography. Instagram Kapedo Photography, And I'm also joining LinkedIn at Kapedo Photography.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. With that being said,
in relation to the traditional wedding photos, there's someone who is saying that he would love to collaborate with you on the same. His name is Dennis.
On what?
I know Dennis
On
Nene.
traditional wedding
Project.
Yeah.
If I see his work, I'm willing, man.
He's a good photographer. He's a friend of Cameras Africa for like he's a really good friend of Cameras Africa. Shout out to you, Dennis Nene.
Yeah.
Kapedo, I'm here and reach out to him via DM. You might have a collaboration on the way.
It's good. We roll, man.
Awesome.
We roll.
So you heard it here first. Shout out to Dennis Nene.
Yes.
If you want the collab, Kapedo Kapa, DM him, call us, and we got it connected. So with that being said, I think I can say goodbye to the wonderful people out today. If you're watching this when it's live, thank you. If you're watching this later, thank you for your time. Thank you for being our fans. And to you, Kapedo, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for the knowledge.
Thank you.
We cannot say thank you enough.
Adios, muchachos.
Peace out, guys.
See ya. Sasa nipatieni kamera za Canon zote.
Hiyo unafaa kutumia Canon sasa.